download our Revise It Right revision app for hundreds of videos, quizzes, exam questions, tutor support and so much more. This video is about the digestive system. Now your digestive system is between 6 and 9 meters long, and it is an organ system where several organs work together, as can be seen in this diagram here, to digest and absorb food. Now the food you take in is made of large insoluble molecules which your body cannot absorb. It is therefore the job of the digestive system to break down these molecules into smaller, more soluble molecules that can be absorbed by our cells. Now in terms of the movement of food through the digestive system, of course it starts off in the mouth where food is chewed, which is a mechanical digestion, and salivary glands produce saliva which contain enzymes to help break down the food. Food is then swallowed down the esophagus into the stomach. Now the walls of the stomach contain muscle tissue which move to churn the food. Okay, so this helps to break it down even more. As well as this, it contains stomach acid, which contains enzymes, which help to break down the food even further. Now the stomach acid provides optimum pH for the enzymes to work. Food then goes into our small intestine, and we're going to write that one over here, as you can see here in the diagram. This is where food, soluble, broken down food, is absorbed into the blood. So this is what we actually eat for, all these nutrients. These are absorbed into the blood at the small intestine. And as you can see, the small intestine contains lots of villi, which gives it a much larger surface area to increase the diffusion, the rate of diffusion of food into the blood. Now, interestingly, from the liver produces bile. This is also a part of the sort of step 4. Now, the food never goes through the liver, but the bile is produced in the liver and stored in the gallbladder. So it's stored in the gallbladder. And from here, the bile mixes with the food in the small intestine. Okay, so bile mixes with the food in the small intestine. Now it's important to understand, of course, that food never goes through the liver, as I said. Okay, it's only that the liver produces bile, which is stored in the gallbladder, which mixes with the food in the small intestine. And it's the job of the bile to break down or emulsify fats, because fats are really large, they're really hard to absorb. It will take ages to absorb them without bile. So bile comes along, it breaks down the fats, and then your lipase enzymes can then break down those fats even further. And as well as breaking down the fats, it also provides optimum pH, so it neutralizes the stomach acid. Now this is to allow it to provide optimum pH of the enzymes in the small intestine. So the enzymes in the small intestine work best at around pH 7. So the stomach acid coming in needs to be neutralized, and it's the job of the bile to neutralize the stomach acid to around pH 7, so the enzymes in the small intestine can work at their optimum. Remember to download our Revise It Right revision app, watch over 700 videos, answer 4,000 plus quiz questions, over 1,000 flashcards, 1,000 exam questions, worksheets, forums, and get help from qualified teachers and so much more. The link is in the description. Food will then travel into our large intestine, and then we're going to write that one over here. We're getting very full this page now. And the function of the large intestine is to reabsorb any water into the blood. So any excess water that is in the food is very useful to our body. Therefore, it is taken from the food and it's absorbed into our blood for use. Food then travels via the large intestine, of course, into our rectum, which you can see here. Now the rectum is just where the food and all the excess stuff that's just going to come out is stored until it comes out of the anus in step 7. So that is the digestive system. That's the movement of food through it. Here are some summary questions. Pause the video to have a go. Okay, so question 1, what is the role of the digestive system? Well, of course, it breaks down our large insoluble molecules into smaller soluble molecules, which obviously can be absorbed in our cells. What is an organ? Well, we would know it as a group of tissues working together to perform a particular function. Describe the journey of the food from the mouth to the anus. Okay, so hopefully you started with the mouth and you added in the chewing and you added in the saliva from the salivary glands. Then obviously it goes down your esophagus and into your stomach. And in terms of extra detail that you should have added to the stomach, obviously the walls churn, the walls move to churn the food, and also you've got stomach acid, as we know, which contains enzymes. Now after the stomach, it goes into the small intestine, as you can see here, which is where all our sort of nutrients is absorbed. So all our small soluble molecules that we're going to absorb are absorbed here into the blood. You can also add extra detail here in terms of our liver producing bile, which mixes with the food in the small intestine, and as we know, this emulsifies fats, so it helps break down fat, and as well it neutralizes the stomach acid. So good detail to add there. Then we're obviously moving on to our large intestine. Now our large intestine is of course where water is reabsorbed into the blood. Then of course you've got the rectum, which is where it's stored, and then out the anus. So lots to that journey, but any sort of detail that is along those lines will be good detail. What are the two functions of bile? Well, emulsification, so breaks down fats, and also neutralizes stomach acid, as we talked about here. So emulsifies fats, it breaks them down, and neutralizes stomach acid. And what is emulsification? Well, again, I've said this like the third time now. It's the breaking down of, so it emulsifies fats, it breaks down fats. And what is villi and how does it help? Well, it increases the surface area, which of course will increase the rate of diffusion. So we've now looked at the digestive system. There are plenty of practice questions on the website, and as ever, if there's anything you didn't understand, do get in contact with a tutor who will happily help.